Hello everyone, it's Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo here for another State of the Game, and this one is for June 5th. I know it's been quite a while since I sat down and did one of these, and it's mainly because I've been having problems with my voice. If you all remember, it was a little bit over a year ago that I had a perforated trachea, and it was a freak accident after surgery to help my voice. Anyway, I've come full circle, and I keep having these gravelly sounds come out of my voice, which makes it very hard for me to get through an episode. But the good news is, I think I'm rounding the corner on these, so I'm going to try to do today's episode. Today's episode is going to be rather simple. It's going to be about an email I got from a guy named Jonathan Worcesterflyer. It's made to look like Worcestershire, but it's Worcesterflyer. He was challenging not me, but the community, and not in a negative way, but in a way to bring on debate about something that's been going on for a little bit, which is, are we really pledging for our ships, or are we purchasing our ships? Now, when they have a sale at CIG, they generally are going to be talking about a purchase, right? That's what you believe. It's a ship sale. We're putting a limited ship sale. We're putting this ship up for sale. Whatever it is, they talk about sales. And it's been a while since I actually spent any real money on the game. I think the first time I spent money on the game in almost a year was to get my Aurora back, and it only cost me $25 to do that. And I did it because I wanted to do a video, and I think it was a video I did about maybe a month or two ago. But I didn't spend any real hard cash. That money that I spent on it was money that was sitting in my actual credits. It was store credits that I had from a ship I thought I was going to buy, but I didn't buy, so I bought a lesser ship, and it left me with some credits. But it came about that I saw the eclipse, and we'll talk about the eclipse as the next topic, and I just had to have it. But also, I started to look at all the development that had to go on the game over the next 6 months to a year. And that started to make me think, all right, they still have a lot of development going. They still need more cash. Why don't I do my part? So I pledged $250 towards the game to get my ship. That's the way I've always looked at the money I spend on the game. I've always looked at it as continuing pledges to help this game get built. So what if somebody brand new comes into the game that hasn't been around since 2012 or 2013 when I came in? What are they thinking? And I think primarily because the wording of everything over the last year has been about, well, the wording has been more or less about sales and less about pledges. And I'm wondering if that's starting to reset things in my mind as to why I've been less likely to spend money on it. I think that $250, $450, $500, $1,000, $2,500 is too much to pay for virtual items that someday will be gone. Now, it's kind of like paying for time on a MMO, right? But if you look at an MMO, if I pay $15 a month and I play it for 5 years, well, let's just say it's $150 a year. Let's just say you paid for the years. So $150, $750. Now, that's not to say that you're not going to spend money on the game, so that each year they come out with a $60 game. So that's $750 plus 6 times 5, it's $300. That's $1,050 that it took to play something like World of Warcraft for 5 years straight. And that's not to mention the money that people might have spent on pets or money that people spent on mounts. Maybe the most expensive that the average person would spend is another $100, so $1,100. that to me has been 5 years of fun for someone playing the game. But when I look at what Star Citizen's doing, they're funding the game by having us pledge. I can't justify the multi-$1,000 that I've spent on the game as purchases. Because if I do, I'm going to start admitting that I've helped to set the prices of these virtual items abnormally high. And that's just something I don't want to stomach. I don't want to be the person that has helped to set a price for a virtual item over $300, $400, $500, $1,000, $2,500. I know some of you are going to be willing to spend the money all the time, but I think it's that kind of a identifier of this game, that kind of an air around this game that scares some people from coming on, thinking that they have to spend so much money. But we do have quite a lot of people that are backing the game now. We do have quite a lot of money, over $150 million pledged to the game so far. And we have a lot of ships out there. The fleet is huge. So maybe I'm worrying about nothing. Maybe Jonathan, maybe he's worrying about nothing. Maybe all the conversation about this has been for nothing. But I really had to take a step back and think. And in my mind, the only thing I've done is pledged for the game. I've got ships as kind of a reward for pledging for the game. And I look at it like a Kickstarter. You pledge in a Kickstarter. I just pledged for a wonderful Kickstarter for the original people that did XCOM. And I pledged at the $50 level. And I get the game, and I get a couple of other cool things with it. And I get early access. I just look at Star Citizen as the game I've always wanted to play, and the game that's going to be the end-all be-all for me, which is why I'm willing to keep investing in the game, to help CIG gain the funds to make the best damn space simulator ever. So I guess that's just the way I look at it. I'm pledging, not purchasing. So the last pledge I made, I got the Eclipse, and as you see on the screen right now, you see my wonderful Gladiator. And I say wonderful because it's not really that wonderful, because I haven't upgraded the weapons, and Item System 3.0 isn't in there, and the torpedoes aren't doing what they're supposed to do against the ships like the Constellation, but it's still a very fun ship to play. It's not a ship I'm going to take solo all the way to the end of the game with the standard weaponry, but it's a ship I like. But then the Eclipse came out. And the Eclipse doesn't have the fun gameplay that I have here. It's going to have 2 weapons. And it's going to have 3 torpedoes. But to me, it's that stealth mission that the F-117 pilots flew on the first day of the Gulf War. That's the type of seat-of-the-pants, nerve-wracking, exhilarating piloting I hope to do in the Eclipse. I can't wait to get into it, fly out there with a group of friends, possibly, who knows, maybe it's a ship I take into something like Operation Pitchfork, and blow the bejesus out of some Bandul cruiser, or take it into a area around Nix and blow the crap out of a pirate ship, like a Caterpillar. Oh God, I can't believe I just said that. I love my cat. Nonetheless, I just had to have it because that ship, to me, was beautiful. So, instead of waiting for it to come out in the game, I pledged the $250 and I get it. And I understand where the ship is coming from and where it's going to. The one disappointment about the ship is that it will not fit my Polaris. That is something I'm going to have to get over. So I said it was June 5th. And we have a little bit over 3 weeks. Actually, it's 3 weeks exactly from today before the game is supposed to be ready for 3.0. I think it was in Vicati. I don't think that was ever the release. Or maybe 3.0 PTU. And I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling like the game is going to be ready for that. But I'm also not feeling that it's going to be too long after that. I'm thinking that we don't have to wait longer than mid-July for open beta or the PTU to be up and running for everybody. And that's kind of exciting. And that's a day that I cross over from doing just a couple of videos a week to hopefully doing many videos a week. I really want to take the RP experience that Star Citizen is going to afford me and start bringing it to you. Running missions, cargo missions, running mercenary missions, running all sorts of fun missions as the different parts of 3.0 become 3.1 and then 3.2. I know it's going to take a while, but with 3.0 coming out before the end of the summer, with 3.0 hitting PTU sometime in July, I'm getting real excited about the game again, especially about the upgraded ships, the upgraded original ships, the increased fidelity to the Aurora, the increased fidelity to the Hornet, one of my favorite early vessels in the game, the rework of the 300 series, the release of more variants of the Constellation. I'm really looking forward to this. And then, of course, the Item System 2.0 is going to give us the best opportunity to start tailoring our ships for the way we want to fly them. And you can watch all of the things that are coming out on Around the Verse now. You don't really need that person to pick apart Around the Verse, Reverse the Verse, which is now called the Happy Hour, or any of the other announcements on the CIG's website anymore. Mostly because they're doing a much better job with their videos and a much better job explaining where the game is, what the terms are, how far they are. But not everybody gets to see that. So I'm going to try to do some more news-oriented shows as time goes on. So I'm excited, very excited about where Star Citizen is going. But I've also jumped into another game. My love of flight simulation is back. And if you noticed my channel, in my video feed, I've been dropping a couple of videos every now and then. Those videos have been about X-Plane and Flight Sim World. Now I say Flight Sim World like that because it doesn't have the fidelity of X-Plane right now, but it does have promise for people that want a lighter, easier, and, well, easier to get into flight simulator. So why am I bringing this up here? Well, it ties it back into the first subject. See, I always have a reason for doing these things if you just hear me out. So over the years, Flight Simulator, which used to be made by Microsoft until they put out that god-awful game named Flight, and then decided to fire the whole Aces crew, eventually passed the baton for Flight Simulator to Dovetail Games, who are best known for taking over Microsoft Train Simulator and making that into a better game for the people that like Train Simulator. Over the years, Flight Simulator and other parts of it run by other companies like Lockheed's P3D has become a place where many of the community members and third-party software conglomerates or software companies have started to create aircraft that you could buy. And then they started to create study-level aircraft that actually worked the same way or as close as possible in the simulator as they do in the real world. Startup procedures, emergency procedures, checklists, how the engines run, how long they last between maintenance, all that was modeled in. And these planes started being sold at a cost. And then eventually they came out also for X-Plane. So there's this whole market on Steam, if you have the products on Steam, or on Flight Sim or x-plane.org, wherever you get them from. You have planes from Alabao, you have planes from Coronado, from A2A, from Aerobasque, from Airsoft, I think is one. You have all these different planes, and then you have scenery, which is all available for purchase by other people. And I started buying some aircraft because I really wanted some high fidelity, high quality, realistic flight model aircraft to fly. The first one I bought has the same name as my second subject, the Eclipse 550 NG, and I bought that for X-Plane 11, one of the newest flight simulators out. And I paid $39 for it. $39. Okay? I can buy an environment change for X-Plane that will take over weather and turbulence effects and wind effects, all sorts of things. Bring in fog effects, bring in rain and snow, and that would cost $69. I started looking at this this renewed love of flight simulating. Wow, did I just make up a word? Flight simulating? Oh, well, anyway, I started looking at it, and I looked at the money I spent after about a month. I bought 2 airplanes. That was about $60, maybe $65 for the 2. I bought 1 add-on that was $25, so I'm up to $85. I paid for the program. It was $60, so that's $145, and that's where I'm at this point. But now I have some aircraft that I'm starting to look at that are even higher fidelity, even more powerful and more realistic. And the most expensive one is like $120, and that's not even the one I want. So I'm looking at the pricing of these digital products. So this is going back to my original statement that I was pledging for the game. And while some of the spaceships in Star Citizen, the Aurora, the Mustang, some of the 300s, the Reliant Core, are in that price point of somewhere between $30 and $100, most of the spacecraft are not. And most of them are not the same quality as some of these aircraft are. And I don't mean in graphical quality. I mean in fidelity. What it takes to fly it, how you fly it, procedures. In other words, the attention to detail. The attention to detail on the spacecraft in Star Citizen is about the way they look and how they differ from the others. So I love that Star Citizen is making a diverse world where we can land on a planet, see everybody's spacecraft, and it looks like you're in a parking lot in a mall where people have all different things, and even when people have the same model, there's subtleties that are different, whether it be rims or decals on them, right? But I'm just wondering if we do get to a point where pledging is over and ships are for sale, how am I going to feel if I'm playing this one game, and I'm even going to bring in another one, DCS World. High fidelity, most amazingly close to accurate real-life flight simulator that you can get for military jets. And the most expensive ones are $50 and $60, where the average ones go for $40. You can buy MiG-29s, you can buy F-86 Sabres, MiG-15s, you can buy F-15s, F-14s, F-18s, you can buy Saab Biggins, whatever it is. Diverse set of aircraft, and still all under $100. Ben Lesnick said, "This ship is coming out at $250 to people that pay cash for the War Bond edition of the Eclipse. And that ship later will be worth $330, which to me set off a red flag and said, ding, they are going to sell these ships later. Which all of a sudden changes the whole point I made in the beginning, which is that up until this point, I have been making pledges. So, while the game is in development, when I see a spaceship, a starship, that I like and I want to buy, I'm going to think about if I want to pledge for the game. If not, I'm going to buy it in game. So I'm going to pledge and get my reward as that spaceship for me to help Chris and the rest of the team at CIG make that game for us. But when the game's development is over, there's no way I'm paying $350, $250, or even $150 for a ship. I will earn the money in game. I will do it the hard way, because that will be more fun. I'm sorry to talk in a circle. It was a way to get me to tell that I'm doing other videos like X-Plane. It was a way for me to show you that even though I'm not playing Star Citizen all the time, which it's very hard to do, though I absolutely love playing Star Marine with my two favorite women, Sophie Girl and Eden Star, and all their friends over at Imperium. I am playing these other games, and they all have these things in common, which are you get in the game and you still could buy more things for it. Some of them, in my opinion, are priced right. And those are the aircraft in Flight Simulator, in X-Plane, in DCS World. And some of them, if they're going to be sold at that cost, are just absurd. And those would be the ones in Star Citizen. But in no way, shape, or form, I'm going to say this again, doesn't mean that I don't support the game. I do. And then I'm going to stop pledging for at different levels to get rewards, which will be ships, and also for me to feel like I'm helping to get my game made. All right, 21 minutes of hearing me rant about one subject and tying it in, hopefully, to a very well-rounded discussion that I hope you have in the chat below. I'm back. I'll be doing a Ben's Day. I hope, please, Ben, come on the show again. He will. We've just been, well, I haven't been calling him because of my voice, but I have reached out to none other than somebody else. Jeremiah Lee. I have talked to Jeremiah Lee, who is doing a lot of the designing of a lot of the outfits that will be on our characters. And he will be on my show sometime in the next few weeks. I've also reached back out to Brian, so you can go into the Discord that will be linked in the comment section below, or actually I should say in the description section below. And you can start going out to that Discord and leaving questions for Brian also. Alright folks, I'm done. I'm about talked out, and I'm sure you are too. And I will see you real soon, I promise. Don't forget, I do have a Patreon over at patreon.com/Batgirl. Those that have been helping to support me have made it possible for me to get my computer upgraded and to set up my new desk and get everything running. And when you start seeing me stream, which I said, I know I've been saying this forever, but when you start seeing me stream, you're going to see the fruition, or you're going to see how much you've all helped me. Thank you so very much. And with that said, don't forget to put your questions in for Ben's Day. I need lots of them. With that said, you all be safe out there, and I will talk to you soon.